The following podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, medical, or any type of professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations surrounding sexuality, relationships, and consent can vary by location and are subject to change. If you have specific legal or medical concerns, we strongly recommend consulting with a licensed professional in your jurisdiction. Listener discretion is advised, as this podcast may discuss adult themes and sensitive topics. By continuing to listen, you confirm that you are 18 years or older. Welcome to the Siren of Freedom Podcast, sounding the alarm by bringing clarity and freedom to the realm of sexuality. Our aim is to give others a place to share their stories and release themselves from the weight of shame and guilt. Hello and welcome to the Siren of Freedom Podcast. This is our maiden voyage into podcast world, and we have been planning this for quite some time, probably actually 20 years since I first felt a burden on my heart to speak, especially to women, but this will definitely be for men as well. My name is Siren, and I live in the Pacific Northwest. I am married. I have 3 kids. My husband is my producer. Say hello, Socrates.
How's everybody doing?
He may or may not talk on this one too much, but I wanted to introduce him because he will be speaking on several of them in the future. So,
not if I can help it.
So, as you heard in our intro, this is a podcast about sexual freedom and the journey to get there. There's so many different ways that we have grown up, all different backgrounds, all different family units, and it's a topic that nobody wanted to talk about when I was growing up, and I just kept wondering why. And so there really isn't a lot out there talking about this journey. So we are going to get into that today. This is just our introduction, but bear with us and we'll develop as we go. We have a lot of people that are really excited about this podcast. And my why for this podcast is not so that you can just hear me talk and ramble on, but in the coming episodes, we will have many guests that will be sharing their stories. And that's what I want to do, is give you, the listener, and people that I meet along the way, a chance to share their story and how they have journeyed along the road of sexual freedom. And really, it's about, have you ever experienced like feeling guilty or ashamed when it comes to sexual desire? You know, I've felt that many times, especially in my youth, and I just want to take you on the journey from shame to freedom. And as a young teenage girl growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I grew up in an extremely religious and conservative household whose ideals about sex were less than freeing. They weren't very open or accepting. I faced the challenges that purity culture brings, challenges like feeling ashamed for having sexual thoughts, feelings, or desires, and feeling guilty if I acted on any of these. And, at the time, like any other teenager, I was full of raging hormones, sexual thoughts, and feelings. I did my best to suppress all those because, according to my religion, it was wrong or bad to act on any of these things. And I found myself frustrated and fighting a losing battle. It really wasn't until years later when I got divorced from my first marriage that I began to fully experience sexual freedom. First, I didn't know how to navigate this change, so I spent the first year simply having sex with whoever would have me. But, the hoe phase, as many would call it. But I still felt really guilty many times, even though, I was completely free to be able to express myself in whatever way I wanted, consenting, two consenting adults, um, doing what adults do. I wasn't under the legal obligation of marriage, I wasn't cheating on anyone. So I should have felt, completely free to express myself, but I just didn't. Um, it wasn't until after that first year of struggling with expressing myself that I encountered a man that encouraged me to explore how I felt and to explore my desires. And it's kind of sad because I can't remember his name. I'd really like to thank him, because that was a pivotal moment. He explained to me that everything that I was feeling and wanting to do and explore was natural and it wasn't hurting anybody. I wasn't hurting anybody by the journey that I was on. Um, it wasn't really easy to accept that either because everything that I'd been programmed with in my youth was anything sexual outside of marriage was wrong, bad, shouldn't even be talked about. But I knew deep down that I had to let my siren be heard. So today is 12 years after that pivotal point. I now experience a wide variety of sexual experiences without any guilt, shame, or worry. This freedom is really what has inspired me to create this podcast and hear other stories of their journeys, and we'll get into a lot more detail in the coming podcasts. I'll be sharing a lot of fun stories, some that maybe other people might think are too embarrassing to share, but I think there is always value in sharing your story. No matter how you feel about it, someone is somewhere is going to be inspired, get something from that story, and that's going to allow them to continue on their journey. And that's the reason that we go through different things. It's like, there's other stories in my life that don't have to do with sexuality. It's like, you know, I don't want to dive into that because I'll rabbit trail. But if I didn't share those stories with other people, then they wouldn't know the struggle, and we've all struggled with sexuality in some way. And by sharing those stories with each other, we can know that we're not alone. We're a community. We're a bunch of people that are born sexual, most of us. And, just having that community of people like and listening to the stories is, I really think, invaluable because you just never know what part of your story is going to help someone out there. There's millions of people in the world that need to hear our story. So, um, but the freedom that I've experienced has allowed me to talk and coach others through their own journey to sexual freedom. I've probably been talking to people for at least 10 years one on one. And, as any human has only so much time, it just made sense that a podcast would be a next step to reach a larger audience that I would be able to share and help more people. And that's really what it's all about. I'm just want to provide a listening ear, a safe place to share your story, because most of what people need is to simply know that they're not alone. Um, and when you come on my podcast, you can be anonymous. You can share your real name if you want. It's totally up to you. I know a lot of people want to be anonymous because of the content and, even still that fear of like what your friends and family think. But I think there's going to be a lot of people listening to this that will then gain the courage to share. So, if you're feeling that same weight of shame and guilt, I just encourage you to keep listening, as each episode we hear from my personal experiences as well as the experience of others on their journey to sexual freedom. So, this episode is short, sweet, and to the point. And as we close out, just think about what would change for you if you were fully expressed in the sexual realm and allowed yourself to feel and be absolutely free in expressing yourself sexually. So, whether you're just starting this journey or if you have completed it, we are here for you every step of the way, and we want to hear your stories. So, connect with us on social media, the Siren of Freedom. And what's our website?
It is the sirenoffreedom.com.
And you can go there right now. We don't have too much on there yet, but if you will go on there, subscribe, then when new episodes drop, you will be the first to know. Thank you so much for listening today. Babe, you have anything to add?
Yeah, I did. What can they expect? I mean, we got a lot of things planned. We're really excited about them. What are you excited about? The kind of episodes, things that we're going to be doing in this podcast?
Well, I'm just really excited about the variety in the sexual realm. Like, I mean, you know, everything from, people in a monogamous world, non-monogamous, polyamory, gay, straight, trans, like every letter of the alphabet. I've got a topic written down. We want to dive into, some things to do with sexual abuse and recovery from that. We've got some experts that we're going to interview on that topic. Really excited about that and just how that plays out. But most of all, just when I interview people, I want to talk about how they grew up, like what their family dynamic was. Was it a really conservative household? Was it a really sex positive household? Like I was raised really conservative. My parents didn't tell me that sex was bad or wrong or anything like that, but they also didn't want to talk about it too much. And I think I've told parents, different parents, when they feel anything, I said, "You're the only one embarrassed to talk about this stuff." But I think I've definitely embarrassed my kids because we're definitely a sex positive household around here. So, but it's been great to have some conversations with our kids about all kinds of things, and they've never been afraid to come and ask us um, any sort of sexual questions. So we're definitely going to cover that, like how people grew up, then how that affected, their sexuality, their sexual journey, where they're at now in life. Just depends kind of on their age, if they're married, if they're single, if they're monogamous, if they're non-monogamous. Um, there's it's endless. I'm just excited because um being in the church, there was so much of like women just even saying that they just didn't even enjoy sex at all. And I was in a marriage where we didn't really have that much sex. And when we did, it was, 10 p.m. missionary style. You know, there was not much beyond that. And it was a big chore for him. And for my ex-husband. And I know that there is more beyond that. I always did. And it would like physically hurt my heart when a woman would say to me like, "Oh, I just avoid it as much as possible. I just don't even want to have sex." And I'm just like, "Oh my goodness." Like I wasn't having that good of sex, but I had friends that were, and I knew there was more. I knew there was more. And so, the marriage I'm in now, we have a very, very fulfilling sex life. And I there's just so many possibilities. And I just think that people, if they know that they're not alone in like wanting to explore those things, it's something that we just need to talk about. However many humans are on the planet, most of us got here because of sex. So, but nobody wants to talk about it. So, I do. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it a lot. I talk about it every day, anyways. So, I'm just excited about all the variety that we will have and all the different cool guests that we're going to have on here. A lot of people are already talking about it. I'm like, we got to get this recorded because people are like, when is your podcast coming out? When is it coming out? So it's coming out now.
I think the buzz is there. I think what surprised me is my upbringing was the exact opposite, like ultra liberal about these things. But we didn't talk about it at all. And what I'm excited about is I was surprised at how many people said, oh my goodness, I grew up exactly like this. And I totally relate to what you're talking about. I was surprised, but living where we live, I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm excited about hearing those stories. I really am, from different walks of life, different religious backgrounds. Some of them are not even just religious, it's more of a cultural thing, or just their parents and the way they raised them. So that's going to be exciting.
And, just the communities that we're in the sexual freedom realm, there is so many stories. And then there's people, living out their sexual journey and having to hide it from their friends and family because, they're the choir director or, they're CEO of a company. And, this is just a good, safe place for people to be able to hear. Because sometimes you do feel isolated or alone in those things because not all sexual freedom is mainstream yet. It's getting there, but it's not quite there yet. So we just want to sound the alarm of like, hey, we don't have to feel guilty about this. We don't have to feel ashamed. We should be celebrated. And, that's what it's all about, is being able to share those stories and then, making the choice for yourself. We're not trying to get anyone to do anything. It's all about consent and being of age, of course. But just letting people know there's options. And there's probably a lot of things that have been going on in their own fantasies that maybe they've been afraid to talk about with their spouse. And, I know in our marriage, a lot of stuff has just really helped our communication by sharing those fantasies and different things. And the experiences that we've had have been great and challenging, but really enriched our marriage. So, any final thoughts from the producer or any other questions? Socrates always has lots of questions.
I do. I won't bore your audience with those today. We're just excited. So I'm really excited for you. I'm very proud of you, of your journey. And I'm just excited to see how this blossoms. And you guys know, I'm very big into people speaking from their heart and what they've experienced. And I don't know anybody more qualified than your really 42 years of going from this journey of ultra-conservative upbringing and to the life that we live now. And I just want to emphasize that we're not here to judge anybody. If you're still living in that and you still believe in these principles, we're not here to put you down. We're just here to talk about people's journey from that to where they're at now and a sense of having a more free life. We will stand up for freedom in all aspects. So I'm excited. You're going to do great.
Thank you. And I'm just excited to be partnered with a man that believes in my calling. And, I always could see myself being here and talking to men and women about this topic. I just didn't know how. And so he's really helped me get to the how. So this podcast, I think, is just the beginning. So tune in, give us your feedback, and can't wait to record more. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for listening today. We hope this podcast has been an encouragement to you. You can find us on our website, thesirenoffreedom.com, and also on social media and Patreon under the Siren of Freedom Podcast. Your support is what helps us continue to sound the alarm of freedom.